So I want to speak this morning just on a few thoughts of what most of us have been saying probably for the last week to different people. I know that people have been saying it in the room this morning, and that's Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. And I know that what we normally do, and I've got to obey the rules, and I know that, which is difficult for me to do. And I know we've got a few minutes. So I just want to reflect a little bit on our church's Happy Christmas 2021. Because I believe by our efforts this year, then others can say that they're having a happy Christmas. When we send the chew boxes, which is a bit of a tradition for us here now at Bethel each year. But by our efforts, I'm sure that people in foreign lands who receive those shoe boxes are having a happy Christmas. Down the road at the Manor House this week, we served 94 families with food. Because we're able to do that, then I'm sure that people down there are able to have a happy Christmas. And it's by what we do. And I just believe in our faith that we are a reward-based faith. And so what's God going to do in the future as we continue to do our bit? This year, I know that we were able, I didn't see it, unfortunately. Me and Ruth were both poorly. And it was probably the little bit of a disappointment that I've had so far this Christmas, is I really wanted to see the toys laid out in our church. Because you know that we bless people from the Manor House with toys. And no doubt this morning, as those children have received those toys, they're having a happy Christmas because of what we've been able to do here at church. And I know this is where we've got to obey the rules. And I'm not going to invite people to the front. But I know that there's been people in the room, Sue, Dave, Becky, were able to help people choose those toys for their children. So I'd just like you to shout, because you can't come to the front, but I'd just like you to shout something to encourage us of your experience of helping those families choose those toys this Christmas. While you're thinking about that, I know down the road there's a lot of Christmas cards of members thanking us for what we've been doing in the last 12 months down the road. And all this goes toward, I'm a happy year. But when we concentrate this morning on Christmas, all of this, our efforts, help people to have a happy Christmas. So, Sue, if you can pull your mask down and shout.
With my teacher's voice.
With your teacher's voice.
It's gone now. One that springs to mind is a lady, a Chinese-looking lady who came in, and I hadn't met her before. And I believe she's a contact from the refuge. Remember when we had the refuge ladies come? And she comes to the Manor House now, and she's got a little girl. And her face was beaming when she saw all the toys. And I said to her, what does your little girl like? And she said, dollies. And I said, okay, I think, come and see this one. And it was quite a big box. And it was the Frozen Anna, beautiful doll. And she was tearful and speechless, and she said she loves Frozen. Yeah. So she had that one, and but then I took her because there was some outfits. And I said, what about if you have an outfit to go with it for the little girl? There was an outfit, wasn't there, to dress up in. And she was just speechless.
So that family are having a happy Christmas because of our efforts. Dave?
Mine's slightly strange. I just said to Ricky, I don't know which one to say, but there was countless times, sorry. But the one that got me, I said to Sue, we came and there was a turtle. A tortoise. And I said, look at all these presents here, there's a tortoise, how are we going to get rid of the tortoise? Someone's going to have to take this tortoise, so it's going to go somewhere. And I just kept saying, because there was a table at the back and it was the second-hand sort of table, and we said, just take what you want. This little girl came in with her mum, and she picked up a notebook. That's all she wanted, a notebook, wasn't it, Beth? And she was over the moon with this notebook. So I said to her on the way, is there anything you want off this table? She picked up the tortoise and just burst into tears. And I said, are you okay? What's the matter? And she said, this tortoise reminds me of my nan, and she passed away this year. And this is everything I want, a notebook and a tortoise. And I just said to Becky, like, it's the simple things that we miss sometimes. I was like, who are we going to give this to? And it made her day. So hopefully she's having a lovely Christmas and she's remembered her nan today. So.
Fantastic.
Happy Christmas to that family.
Happy Christmas to that family. God knows, I was struck by the story that Tone shared with us last week on the video. That packet of crisps and a couple of oranges and a can of Coke, because God knows. And it's the business that God's in. God knows. Beck?
There was lots of families that came, but it was really nice to see the families be blessed with so many things, because I think at the start they were a bit like, oh, can I have this, or what can I have? And it was nice to be able to bless them and be very generous with them, like that message that Ruth shared, that we weren't just saying, oh, you can have one thing, or you can have one thing here. They were going home with like big sacks full, you know what I mean? So it was really, they were really blessed and thankful for all the things that they received. But there was lots of families who were grateful, and there's lots of stories that I could tell, but that as a whole, it was just nice to see them go home with so much stuff.
Thank you. Was anybody else involved in that? No, I just think it's fantastic. I even think that today, 94 families can have a turkey dinner, if that's because they had turkey parcels that the butcher prepared down the road, or for down the road. So it's just this bit by bit that we do, and I'm sure God blesses what we do. And who knows what those families are thinking this morning. My prayer this morning as I was walking the dog is, let the people that we've touched this Christmas ask the reason why. And the reason is to show the love of Jesus. And hopefully that will be shone through at this Christmas time. Thank you. So I don't know if you're having a happy Christmas 2021. Is it better than last year, when we couldn't do a lot really? But I wonder if you're having a happy Christmas, because happiness is determined by our circumstances. Happiness is determined by how we feel, our circumstances around us. And often it's easy for that happiness to turn into sadness. But Christmas 2021, I want to encourage you to have a happy Christmas. I don't know if you watched last night the repair shop at Christmas. I watched the repair shop. I like that, skilled people doing what they do. But the theme of what I was watching last night is happiness. Because people were so happy when the things that were took into them to be repaired was transformed. And people were saying, that just reminds us of our happiness that we've had in past years. There was a 1961 electric train set that hadn't been used for many years, and a bit of a tragic circumstance, because the owner was suffering from motor neurone, I think it was, and his son and his son's cousin had brought this into the repair shop, and they made a fantastic job, and it was running again like it was new. And the family that picked it up says, it's just made us so happy to see this run again. You know, I've been reflecting this last couple of weeks on my younger years, and I can't remember a sad Christmas. You know, me and Sue, we requested off our parents, and you've often heard me say at the front, I know you will dispute it with me, we had the best parents in the world. And we would request our gift, and every year we got what we requested. And it was the days where you didn't have hundreds and hundreds of presents. You had a main present and you had some smaller presents. And one year, I can remember our Christmases. My mum was one of three sisters, my mum being the youngest, three sisters that were very, very, very close. So our Christmas was all the family together at Gwen and Paul, who've joined us now. Gwen's mum and dad's. Build a picture in your mind. Gwen's dad was a barber, and he had a barber shop, and they lived behind the barber shop. So our Christmases were always together. It was a 2-day, not 1 day here and 1 day at another family. But we had our Christmases, Boxing Day, Christmas Day, all together as a large family. One year I can remember having a scale electric. I can't remember how old I was, but I had a superb scale electric set, big layout. So we rushed it down to our Auntie Ed and Uncle Joe's, Gwen's mum and dad. Our Trevor, it's also his mum and dad. And there we were. We moved the chairs out of the shop, and we moved the barber's chair. We pushed that out the way, and we set up this fantastic scale electric set on the floor. We really had some fun, and it was a happy Christmas. We went home on Christmas Day. We come back on Boxing Day morning to find our Trevor. And this is the reason that I'm reflecting. Trevor started he worked for SGA for many, many years, very dedicated to that work. And he started the Widows Project that we are donating to and have done for many years and supported for many years. Trevor was a big part of our family, and Trevor, unfortunately, for us, passed away a couple of weeks ago. But obviously now he's enjoying his first Christmas in heaven. But Trev, when we got there on the Christmas morning, who was playing with my beautiful scale electric? But Trevor, he was practicing, and he was playing with what I so quickly got your coat off, went back in, and you know what? He wouldn't let me play with my scale electric, and I got upset because he wouldn't. And it's strange, isn't it, how these things come back to your mind? This was many years ago. Trevor, this great Christian man, led SGA. He's so respected by many, many people, especially in the Eastern Bloc of countries, wouldn't let me play with my Christmas present. But you know what? That soon got sorted, and we had a fantastic Christmas as a family. And that's what I just want to encourage. Happy Christmas. You know, we've gone through so much over the last couple of years. But I just want to encourage you to have an amazing, happy Christmas. That song that I just asked the lads to play at the back, Noel, come and see what God has done. When you can see what God has done, that brings happiness, because he's done it for each one of us. He's not done it for other people and excluded you. You are in the story. And what God did that Christmas many years ago was for you. But do you realise it? Can you have a happy Christmas this Christmas because you can see what God has done for you? Luke 2 and verse 10 is the verse I want to bring to you this morning. And it says this, but the angel said to them, do not be afraid. I bring you good news that will cause great joy for all the people. Great joy, happiness for all the people. And I trust this morning that you know this joy, that you can experience happiness that this gift brings. I wonder this Christmas, have you asked for a specific gift? Have you asked anybody to provide you with a specific gift? Now, I'm not going to ask you if you received that gift. But I wonder, did you? But if you were to request something from Jesus, the Saviour of the world that was born on this Christmas morning many years ago, if you were to ask him for something specific, what would it be? What would it be? Because Jesus can cause great joy and happiness by what he can provide. Many Christmas gifts, and I'm sure that the older ones particularly amongst us can say this, that many Christmas gifts get discarded. Some break very soon after that we've opened them. Some get discarded. some things that we think is absolutely amazing today. I wish I still had that scale electric set. I don't even know what happened to it. But man, that would be worth a few quid. I can remember one of my fantastic gifts from many years ago was a chopper, a rally chopper bike. You know, a rally chopper bike, a red one. Fantastic, 3 gears, yellow writing. Fantastic. And worth $4,000 now. What happened to my chopper? But it got discarded somewhere along. I don't even know what happened to it. But you know, this gift that God gives lasts throughout eternity. How amazing is that? It's a gift that never gets discarded. We can discard it. I'm not saying that we don't, but the gift is always there. The gift that God gives can last you through all eternity. And can I suggest it even gets better? Because the more that you understand what God did on that first Christmas that we sung about in that carol, the better the gift gets. And I don't know any gift that gets better and better. The more that you use it, the more that you use a gift usually, the more it wears out. But the gift that God gives gets better. You know, the Christmas story, I don't know how many times that you've heard the Christmas story. The older ones amongst us have naturally heard the Christmas story more often. But the Christmas story can never be exhausted. It can never be exhausted. Year after year we tell the Christmas story. But just to tell the Christmas story, you know, is not good enough. Because we need to experience the Christmas story. And I'm trusting that you're experiencing today even that Christmas story. We can experience Christmas because we have God with us. Many years ago, a church put on an annual nativity play. They put the annual nativity play on and they got the children, as we get the children here in the better days, to perform a nativity. This church did so year after year. And there was one young lad named Barry. Barry was a 10-year-old lad, and Barry was a disaster in the nativity plays. One year he set the angel's wings on fire. Disaster. Another year he was playing Herod. He jumped off the stage, slid on the carpet, and took out the wise men. Barry was a naturally disastrous 10-year-old child. Come time to sort out the play for this year, and other children said, "Don't include Barry this year. He's a disaster. Don't use him. Put him on the sidelines. Let him do something behind the scenes." The parents cottoned on to this, and they said the same. You know what? It's best probably. The lady who was organising the nativity was a lady named Jill, and the parents were saying, "Jill, it's probably best that Barry does something behind the scenes this year." But Jill, the organiser, knew that deep down this 10-year-old lad loved Jesus. And so she couldn't put him on the sideline. So she thought, you know what? Let's let him be the innkeeper. Because surely it can't get the innkeeper's role wrong. So all the rehearsals went, and Barry had just got his lines to say, "Knock, knock, knock at the door. Sorry, there's no room in the inn for you." And this went on week after week, and everything was absolutely fine. The dress rehearsal come. The church had even hired a donkey to bring Mary and Joseph into the church hall. That went absolutely fine. Barry's words were spot on. Come the night of the production, all parents fill the hall, all the people from the community, aunties, uncles, grandparents, all crammed into the hall of the church, expecting to see a perfect nativity play. Everything was going fine. Mary and Joseph, Mary on the donkey, come to the door of the inn. Knock, knock, knock. The door opened, The question was asked, have you got some room for us? We know the story. To which Barry said, no, be off with you. We have no room in the inn. The donkey turned round, Mary and Joseph turned around. The people on the front row of the church could see that Barry's eyes were filling with tears, and his true story, and his bottom lip started to quiver. As Mary and Joseph, the donkey, took a couple of steps off the stage, Barry shouted out, stop! Stop! You can have my room. The children were flabbergasted. Barry's ruined another nativity play. The audience started to mutter amongst themselves, oh no, it's Barry again. Jill, to try and rescue the situation, come out onto the stage. She dried Barry's tears. She dried her own tears. And she says, you know what, you think that Barry screwed the play up again, but let me tell you this. What Barry said in his words this morning is the true meaning of Christmas. That you've got to have room in your own life for Jesus. That became the theme for that church for the next 12 months. The words that shouldn't have been said in the nativity play at all. But Barry said, stop. You can have room. You can have my room in my house. I wonder this morning, would you say that? Have you said that? Can you say that? You experience Jesus. Will you bring him into your life? Will you bring him into your room? True meaning of Christmas. Don't leave Jesus in the manger, but bring him into you, into your life. And that's how you'll know true happiness. There's many people in this room that can back up what I'm saying. If you want true happiness, you need to know Jesus. Because God is bigger, wider, deeper, and longer than we can imagine. God cannot be contained by our language or formulas. If God was small enough for us to contain, he wouldn't be worth believing in. God is mystery and uncontainable. God is bigger than any theological system. God is bigger than any church. God is even bigger than the Bible. Yet he sent his son on that first Christmas to reveal his love to each one of us. That's happy Christmas. You know, that first Christmas must have been such a happy Christmas. It must have been, when you read the story, it must have been a happy Christmas. Zachariah and Elizabeth, you know, they were the parents of John. Read the story. John was the forerunner to tell the people of Jesus Christ. But Zachariah and Elizabeth experienced surprised wonder and amazement. They were blessed to share in that first Christmas. So my way of thinking, they must have had a happy Christmas. Mary and Joseph, what an awesome experience they had that first Christmas. Not only their firstborn son, but they knew that they were directly involved in the fulfillment of God's plan that had been revealed to them. They must have had a happy Christmas. The shepherds experienced the amazing firsthand. If you can imagine an angel just showing up as you're doing your day-to-day work, they must have been scared stiff, because what did the angel say? Fear not. Fear not. You know, those shepherds were changed people. They glorified and praised God. They must have had a happy Christmas. The wise men, they journeyed afar. They followed a star. They knew that God had done something amazing. You know what? They went to see what God had done. They were guided by God. They presented their gifts. You know, they must have been so happy. Happiness was all around at that first Christmas. But you know, those people of the first Christmas left their Christmas with a sense of fulfillment, completeness and satisfaction. I wonder After this Christmas, 2021 has passed. What will your attitude be? What words will be on your lips? Will you be able to say to people that you met the fulfillment of God? Give me a happy Christmas. And it was absolutely amazing. Us as Christians, we can know a happy Christmas because to you this day, your Saviour was born. A Saviour who does for me that I cannot do for myself. A Saviour who reaches into my life and helps me be the person I was created to be. A Saviour who forgives me. A Saviour who loves me even when I'm naughty. A Saviour who loves me when I'm unlovable. A Saviour who gives me meaning and purpose. A Saviour who walks beside me every day. Reflect on these thoughts because that should make you have a happy Christmas. This Saviour who was given to God to reconnect you to him. And it's available to each one of us. What a Saviour that was born on that Christmas. I would encourage you to think in these days and in the future days that lie ahead, what God has done for you. Come and see what God has done, was the words of the song, and realise how much God has done for you. And that should make you a happy person. And I trust that it will. So from me and Ruth, happy Christmas, Bethel Church. And let's hope and pray for a blessed 2022. Keeping your prayers down the road. And Ruth tells me we've got another 8 families, 9 families waiting approval for membership in the new year. So things are going well down there. But we shouldn't be surprised because it's a God-given project, a God-given vision. So we shouldn't be surprised with what's happening down the road. But obviously we should be praying over it. So as a church, please pray this Christmas time for the Manor House and for those that we have contact with as a church. And let's show people that we're happy Christians because we realise what God has done for each one of us. Amen.